Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I want to answer the question, is crossplay fair, and does PC have an advantage over console in Call of Duty Modern Warfare? The gameplay you're going to see for the duration of this video is PC gameplay, and this is an important question because for the first time ever we have crossplay in a Call of Duty game, and if you want to play Ground War right now, it's crossplay only. If you don't like playing against PC players or console players or whatever input method, then you just shouldn't play Ground War, which is kind of a shame because that's the most popular mode. But back to the question, does PC have an advantage over console in Modern Warfare? The short answer is yes. PC has several empirical advantages that just make it better, and the long answer is that it's complex because I have to have a commentary about it, some value, some insight to add to all of you, but console actually can compete quite well because of some design choices, but in general PC is superior. Even aside from mouse and keyboard, PC has significant visual advantages over console. For instance, if you click on the settings wheel in the bottom right, you'll see that this video is in 1440p or 2K resolution. I'm not even close to topping it out on PC. It can do 4K, 18K, it can scale to however many Ks you want to scale it to, and normal consoles cannot do this. Normal Xbox One and PS4 regular max out at 1080p, though I do admit some TVs will automatically upscale to 4K, however I generally don't recommend this option because it can add extra display lag. For comparison, this is what my gameplay would look like on the same screen at 1080p. We're not going to keep that up for too long because it just kind of looks bad in the video. But some of you are already saying, I can hear it down there in the comments, but Drifter, Xbox One X and PS4 Pro can do up to 4K. And that's true, you are correct on that. But it does so at an extra load to the console, and many of the games don't even have 4K textures that load on consoles. Instead, you'll be playing a 1080p or 2K version of the game that upscales to 4K. Now, to clarify, there are some games that do have 4K textures, just not a whole lot of them. And this kind of works kind of how old Call of Duty games, especially on the previous generation of consoles, used to do this. They used to play like Black Ops 2. The game would only render at like 600p and then upscale to 1080, and they always did this as sort of a cheat to make the game look better, but on PC it just renders at whatever resolution you want. And it isn't ideal to upscale or anything on console, so PC does have a visual advantage here, and at the very least, PC has the advantage in that you have greater options for controlling your gaming resolution. Resolution does matter too. It's not just a fancy number, it's not a bunch of nonsense. Resolution gives you greater clarity of picture, or higher resolution I should say, will give you a greater clarity of picture, especially at long ranges. This will help PC players identify enemies faster, especially amongst more smoke effects and bombs and explosions and lighting and all the chaos that's going on. You can see enemies at longer ranges than console players, most likely because you're sitting a little bit closer to the monitor, but also because it's running at a higher resolution so you can see things moving more clearly. Personally, when I play on PC, I feel that my visual acuity and reaction time is significantly faster than it is when I play on console, even though, I'm the same person no matter what system I'm on. The next one, and probably the most important one for this video, is frame rates. No console, not even the Xbox One X, has a frame rate boost mode yet, that I know of. Hopefully they don't add it and this video just ages poorly. Right now, all consoles default to 60 FPS, and there's not much you can do to improve it. PC, on the other hand, can do 120 frames per second, 144, which is probably the most common that you see, 144 hertz, 240, 265, or if you're just an absolute madman, you can take it up all the way to 600 FPS or 10 times console frame rate. To me, having a high frame rate is much better than having a high resolution. At higher frame rates, PC players are literally able to see new frames and data before console players do. They're also seeing it at a more realistic speed, since life isn't exactly capped at 60 FPS. Since YouTube is capped at 60 FPS, I'm going to show you an example that should make it pretty clear. I'm going to show you 15 FPS versus 30 FPS, and this should kind of give you an idea of the difference in like how it could look, or how it scales the same. I wish that I could make like a 120 FPS video and show you the exact difference or whatever, but the scaling ratios are the same, and because of that, at higher frame rates on PC, the game looks smoother and plays better. This is just a random example. For me, being able to spin around smoothly, having crisp images, a lack of motion blur, faster frames, meaning I can see and react to information slightly quicker, is the most important part about playing on PC. I love playing high frame rate, and I think that that's what most people also enjoy about playing on PC. On top of this, PC players have an overall better graphical fidelity than console players. You can have higher anti-aliasing, which means it's easier to see targets, it makes them clearer at longer ranges. You can control your effects, reflections with RTX, shadows with RTX, and all the various RTX things. You can change your Oculus, what's it called? Occlusion settings, your ambient lighting settings, your shadow settings, your grass and foliage settings. Do you remember the old PUBG thing where people would turn the grass effects down to super low so nobody could hide in the grass and they just hose people that thought they were being snakes? You can change your fire effects, your lighting effects. You can change everything about the game so that you can control how everything looks to you. And you would see this very much so, especially amongst Fortnite competitive players. Last year, they had this certain set thing, and it's what Ninja played on. It wasn't even the highest settings in the game, but it was the settings that allowed you to see enemies the furthest away with the least amount of clutter on the screen, which was important for them. I could talk about each one of these options all day. There's hundreds, it's probably literally like 100 of them. I barely even touched on them, but you get the idea. You can go from low to high and anything in between to whatever is your advantage. Moving along, let's hit the more obvious one as well. Mouse and keyboard offers more precision than controller, especially when it comes to mouse aiming. I literally can't aim this good on console to save my life, but it's super easy to do on PC. A good mouse aim person will dominate stick aimers 100% of the time, and I want to clarify, when I say a good mouse aim person, I'm talking like a Shroud or a Myth or something like that. They're not going to let you beat them on console. It's not going to happen. Thankfully, not everybody that plays on PC is good. There are still lots of idiots out there and lots of baddies, so there are some opportunities for me to kill people and look good for videos, but generally speaking, a mouse is more precise than a stick because you can just click heads, lol. So some mice even have one-button presses that increase or decrease sensitivities for when you need it. So you can have like a sniper sensitivity and like one-button press and immediately go back to like a CQC sensitivity for your shotgun or whatever. I don't really do this because I tend to forget which one I'm on and I screw things up, but I know some people that do and they love it. The keyboard is nice too because you can map a whole ton of buttons to it for unique things. A lot of, especially PUBG was a good example of this one. Modern Warfare has a lot too. For consoles, you usually have contextual buttons, like in this situation, the bumper does this, and in this situation, the D-pad does that. For PC, since you've got like, I don't know, like 80 buttons or something on your keyboard, you can just map them to also, you can have a unique button for everything in every scenario, and you never have to guess or deal with context or anything like that, which in my opinion is quite nice. So yes, PC players do have some pretty significant advantages over console players, and that would lead me to say that crossplay is inherently unfair, and I think I'm going to stick with that, and that crossplay isn't really fair as a system. It's really not. PC players do have the advantage, even if they were forced to play on controller, just the visual advantages would be great. And if you did so, I've heard the community saying that we should cap PC players to 1080p and cap PC players to 60 FPS. If that happened, nobody would play the game. That would be a terrible idea. But it doesn't mean that console players are helpless or that crossplay is a bad idea. Crossplay is great. That means anybody can play together with anybody all the time, and that's just a fantastic feature to have in any game. However, consoles have aim assist, which can help make up for some of these aiming deficiencies that you might have using the sticks. Aim assist is sort of the thing that's the glue that holds COD together. And in Modern Warfare, you also die really fast. This is a game where it's easy to get picks, and in my opinion, that makes the skill cap lower than normal. So in Modern Warfare, since you have a low aim skill gap or high time to kill, fast time to kill, positioning usually wins fights. Console players can position themselves well, they can pre-aim, they can mount on things, they can play smart, and they can kill PC players. Heck, you're only seeing the good clips. When I was playing Ground War, I had a lot of console kids just murder me, and even at the pre-launch events, some of the really good pub stars on console took me to task, even though I was on the, quote, superior PC. I don't think it's a hopeless situation if you're on console. I don't think it's a miserable situation. I think it's a little bit unfair, but it's a reasonable trade-off to be able to play with your friends and in these massive 64-player maps that are fun. But at the end of the day, PC players do have an advantage in most engagements. That was supposed to be the end of the video, but I wanted to add one more thing here to the end because I just finished a 4-hour stream of Crossplay I played with some of my PC friends while I was on PS4 trying to get in-depth gameplay. And as some of you saw in the stream, that sort of rapidly deteriorated into toxicity, and I wish that wasn't the case. But if I play pretty hard on PlayStation, like if I really PTFO and pre-aim and play smart, I can keep up with PC players. It's not easy, but it is doable. However, the thing that really started going wrong is when I started trying to get like pistol kills and unique guns and like showing off and doing like commentary type gameplay, something like casual or goofing off or having fun. That was miserable. It is almost impossible to use goofy guns or to play casually or to be lackadaisical versus PC players when you're on console. If you're going to have to play PS4 or Xbox versus PC, you need to be really ready to sweat it up, and sometimes that sucks. Guys, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.